Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be joined by Tristan from the Porch Man, and we're going to be reviewing the new movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Although this movie isn't really new, it's been out for about 6 months, but still from this year. So, in this movie, Peter Quill's still reeling from the loss of Gamora in Avengers Endgame, must rally his team around him to defend the universe along with protecting one of their own. A mission that, if not completed successfully, could quite possibly lead to the end of the Guardians as we know them. So, before I get into my part, I'm going to let Tristan do his part and everything, so take it away, buddy.
Hey everyone, I wanted to say thank you to Ogre Boy 1992 for having me on this awesome collab review, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This movie really showed how Drax was a powerhouse. I feel like Drax finally got his moment of strength. Out of all three, he finally got his big moment that kicks some butt, you know. And he got some punches into Adam Warlock. I'll say that. This is the last movie of the Guardians for right now. I like the story. I like the villain. The villain was really good. He was pretty crazy. It was kind of sad seeing Rocket's friends, dying. It was kind of sad for a Marvel movie at the same time. It was kind of sad. And I remember I was in the theater for this, and I was so mad over the ending. I was so mad over the ending. That's how you leave it off? Dang, son. That's how you leave it off. Dang, son. That's how you leave it off. I was really mad with the ending. Even now, when I rewatched it, I was still mad at the ending. It's just the ending just kind of ruined it for me. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is still a pretty fun action movie. I think James Gunn knows how to direct and make Marvel movies and DC movies. He knows how to make superhero movies. I think he did a great job at making Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It also made me laugh that Chris Pratt was a drunk for the first 20 minutes of the film. That cracked me up very much. But I like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm kind of getting tired of the superhero movies, to be honest. So each one I watch is starting to get worse and worse. But I will give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 probably a solid 8.1 out of 10. It was good. I'd watch it again if I had to. But that's it for my review, so I want to thank y'all. Thank you, Ogre Boy 1992, for having me on the collab. And see you guys soon.
Thank you, Tristan. As always, it's great to have you on here, and great to do another collab with you. I feel like this movie is okay. I don't feel like the story is near as strong in this one as it is the first two movies. I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy. It's one of my favorite MCU movies, definitely in my top 10. And Volume 2 is a really great sequel. I have a lot of fun with it. I do feel like some of the jokes were a little mean-spirited in that one, but I still enjoyed that one quite a bit. I felt like it really brought the humor and the dark side of the story together pretty well and everything. In Volume 2, this one it goes more for a darker story and everything, more of a darker tone. It still has its lighthearted humor at times and everything, and there are some pretty funny moments and stuff and everything, which you can expect from James Gunn and the Guardians of the Galaxies characters and stuff like that. But I still think that the cast are all, once again, great in their roles, although I do feel like Zoe Saldana is kind of tired of playing Gamora, and it kind of does show in her performance. She's not near as good in this movie as she was any of the other times she's played Gamora and everything. I also kind of just wish they would have left Gamora out of the story. I wish they wouldn't have had the alternate version in Endgame and everything, so that Star-Lord could be reunited with her. I think if they would have kept her out of it and kept that whole subplot out of the story, it wouldn't have really changed too much of what they had to do with the movie and everything, although it is, I guess, important for Star-Lord's character arc. But I kind of wish they could have done something else with Star-Lord and stuff, and had him have a different type of character arc, and not included Gamora in the story and everything. Not because I dislike Gamora, but I just don't like this version of her. I like the version that we were getting to know through ones that his life was ended in Infinity War too soon and everything. I felt like her story wasn't over then, but it's definitely not needed now, personally, I felt. I will say that Adam Warlock is a really nice addition to the characters and everything. I like how, like, at first he's the villain, but he kind of redeems himself by the end of it. I love a good redemption story, and I felt like they did a good job with him. I do feel like he's a little undercooked, but he is just being introduced, and I really hope that they do more with him, because I really did like him and everything. I think Will Poulter was really good as him and everything. I will say that I wish they would have done more with Adam Warlock, because they built him up so much in Volume 2, but I felt like the way they handled him was good enough and everything. This movie had a lot going on and stuff, so many different plot lines with the flashbacks with Rocket and his friends, and the Guardians going on the mission to try to save Rocket, and the stuff with the villain of the movie, and there's just so much going on in this movie that it's hard to keep track of everything at times, and I felt like that was one of the things that kind of just made it disappointing for me. And I know a lot of people love this movie and everything, and have said that it's the best MCU movie since Endgame, and I don't agree on that. I think it's not even close to as good as Spider-Man No Way Home. I actually think a lot of the movies in Phase 4 are better than this one. Everything. I think Phase 5 is really off to a weak start. This one and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania were both not near as good as they could have been. Although I did enjoy Quantumania a little bit more than this one. Everything. But I will say it does still have some good moments, and like I said, that there's some good jokes and stuff and everything. There are a couple jokes that don't land as good as they could have and everything. Some of the funniest moments were shown in the trailers, which kind of sucked. Everything, because this does have a darker and more serious tone than the other two movies, which I respected and stuff, but I do miss the fun, jokey side of the Guardians that we had in those first two movies and stuff. But after everything that these characters have been through, it's not that surprising that they're a little bit more serious and stuff and everything. But I will say that there are some really hard moments to watch, especially with Rocket and his friends. It just I'm not one that really likes to see animals being tortured. I'm not like a big animal rights activist or anything like that, but I don't want to see them being tortured and killed and stuff like that, especially as you kind of are just starting to like them and stuff. And when Layla died, it was just heartbreaking and stuff and everything, and seeing Rocket being tortured and stuff, it's kind of sad. I kind of wish we could have left that to the imagination and stuff. It was just too dark for me, and I don't usually complain about movies being too dark, but this one it was too dark, especially compared to the first two. And the second one had a lot of dark themes in it too, but I just felt like this one, it went too dark, and I know a lot of people loved it for that reason, that it was more serious and stuff than a lot of the other MCU movies. I'm not saying this needed to be like Thor, Love and Thunder, humor every 5 seconds type of movie, but it didn't need to be as dark and serious as it was. I wish it could have just balanced it, kind of like they did with Volume 2. I think they balanced the dark and the humor and stuff a little bit better and everything. I know a lot of people said it gave that one tonal issues, but I felt like it was just better executed in that one. But I will say that I do like where the Guardians end up, and like I thought it was an interesting way to end their character arcs and their stories and the group and everything. So I did like that. I thought it was kind of cool seeing Star-Lord go back to his grandpa and Mantis go her own way and Rocket become the leader of the Guardians that are left together and stuff. So I did like that and everything. And like I said, and there are some good moments in here, but it just, I wanted so much more out of this movie and everything. And I'm a huge fan of the first two, so I let myself get way too hyped for this one. Like, I usually don't let myself get too hyped, especially recently in this and everything with movies, but this one I was way more hyped on than other MCU movies in recent years because of how much I love the first two Guardians. I just expected this one to be on the same level as them, and I love the holiday special too, and I love the stuff that they did with them in Infinity War and Endgame. So I was really looking forward to this movie, and I just felt like it could have been so much better and everything. And it's easily probably the most disappointing movie of 2023 for me, and it's the most disappointed I've ever been with anything in the MCU. I'm not saying that means it's the worst MCU movie, because it's definitely not even close to the worst. There are definitely way worse MCU movies than this one, but it's the one that's disappointed me the most because I just expected way too much out of it, I guess. I don't know, but I will say there are some fun things though, and I like, especially like when Mantis and Nebula are kind of fighting back and forth and stuff, and like whenever Nebula gets mad and she's like yelling at one of the other characters, I don't know why, but I just find it really humorous. I think it's just the way Karen Gillan does the lines and stuff, especially like the part when Gamora says that his version of her sounds more like Nebula, and he starts looking at her and she's like, knock it off and stuff. That part cracks me up. I wish it wasn't in the trailers and stuff, because it would have made it even funnier, but it did have some funny moments. And the part where Drax throws the ball at the little animal human hybrid character's head, I thought that was pretty hilarious too. I don't know why, but it just, that scene cracks me up too. Another scene that shouldn't have been in the trailer, but there are a lot of funny moments and stuff, and I do feel like there is some bad dialogue in here too, mainly when Star-Lord is just doing the exposition dump of what happened during the events of Infinity War and Endgame. It's just the way the dialogue is written is just not very well done, and it's like, it felt like they were just doing it to keep people who didn't watch Endgame and Infinity War and that stuff just to catch them up so they know what's going on with the Guardians characters, which I understand why they do it, but it just didn't come off very well written and stuff, and it was kind of cringy. And I will say that, like with most of the MCU movies, especially recently, the CGI is really terrible. Not on the same level as bad as, say, Thor: Love and Thunder CGI or Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania's CGI, but I will say the CGI in this one is definitely the worst out of the three Guardians movies and everything. That's just something that Marvel has gotten worse at. The CGI keeps getting worse with every project and everything, it seems like. And it's not like it's ever been good. The CGI has always been the one thing that I have always complained about on the MCU. I've always felt like it doesn't look good and everything, but it's gotten worse and worse over the last 15 years since the MCU started and everything. So, but all in all, I think this movie is okay. Like I said, if I were to do a top 10 disappointing movies of 2023, this one actually probably would make my top 1, because I was just so disappointed with this movie and everything. And I was hoping that I would enjoy it more the second time around, knowing what I was getting into, and I enjoyed it even less. And everything. Like I said, I don't hate this movie, but I don't really enjoy it very much. I don't think it's as good as it could have been. It didn't live up to the hype. It wasn't worth the 6-year wait that we had to wait because of James Gunn being fired and stuff and everything. It wasn't worth all that. Everything. And by the time it came out, it just felt like it was a little too late and everything. I don't know what's going on with the MCU, but I'm having trouble getting hyped for MCU stuff lately and everything, and it just seems like it's not near as good as it used to be, which is really sad because they've made some of the best movies and stuff, but I'm afraid that Marvel might be about to go downhill. And it's not just Marvel, DC has too. It's like the whole superhero genre is just kind of starting to go downhill and everything, and it's about to go the way of the Western, where we'll still get superhero movies and stuff, but they're not going to be as prominent as they used to be, just like the Westerns. We still get them to this day, but they're not prominent like they used to be. Everything. I think video game movies are about to take over. Five Nights at Freddy's and Mario kind of prove that, which sucks because I'm not a video game person. I'm not a gamer. I don't really care for it, so I probably won't keep up with that trend. The superhero stuff I really got into, but video game movies I probably won't. There will be ones that I want to see because I do play some video games, but there's ones I'm not going to want to see either. But this movie is just, it could have been so much better and everything. It sucks that it was as disappointing as it was. Like I said, I debate whether I was more disappointed in this one or Shazam, but I'd probably say this one because I was expecting a lot more out of it than I was Shazam. So, yeah, so all in all, I'd give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 a 7 out of 10. And I think that it has potential to drop even more, because I think the more I watch this movie, the more it's going to drop, because I just didn't really like it that much. I just don't think it's a very great one. I don't think it's one of the best MCU movies. I definitely think it's the weakest of the Guardians, and I just felt like it could have been better. It did have some good moments, and like I said, the ending was satisfying enough, but it could have been better. I felt like there was no stakes. That they had so many fake out deaths. Like, all of the characters had fake out deaths and everything, and I expected more emotions and stuff. I felt like the fake out deaths took away from the emotions in the story, and I felt like it could have been so much better and everything, and it just all in all, it's just not a great movie. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Did you think it was as disappointing as I did? Did you think it was one of the best MCU movies since Endgame, like a lot of people say it is? Let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.